How did Hitler build Europe's most modern military from a bankrupt nation? Families burn money in their stoves, it's cheaper than firewood. Then, 1929. The Great Depression hits. Banks collapse. Factories close. By 1933, 6 million Germans are unemployed. That's 30% of the workforce. Families starve in the streets. This is the Germany Adolf Hitler inherits when he takes power in January 1933. A nation economically destroyed, twice over. But just 6 years later, 1939, everything has changed. Germany invades Poland with 3 million soldiers, 3,000 tanks, 4,000 aircraft, Europe's most modern military. In 6 years, this bankrupt nation built the world's most powerful war machine. How? The answer involves a fake company, a financial wizard, and a national Ponzi scheme. The MIFO bills, a shadow banking system that funded Nazi rearmament while hiding it. By 1939, the bills were coming due. And Germany couldn't pay them. So, Germany had no choice but to invade its neighbors to avoid economic collapse. The Nazi economy wasn't just built on ideology, it was built on a financial scam needing constant expansion to survive. This is how Hitler paid for World War II, and why economic collapse made war inevitable. Before we dive in, imagine this. It's January 1939. You're Germany's top economist. You know the economy's about to collapse. You know Hitler's only solution is war. Do you speak up and risk your life, or stay silent? Real people faced this exact choice. By the end, you'll see why every option was bad. If you like history that makes you think, hit subscribe. Let's start with the crisis that made this all possible. To grasp Germany's desperation, you need both catastrophes. First, the 1923 hyperinflation. November 1923. The peak of Weimar hyperinflation. $1 equals 4 trillion marks. Workers demand to be paid twice a day, at lunch and end of shift, as morning wages are worthless by evening. Restaurants change prices mid-meal. Waiters climb tables to shout out new menu prices every 30 minutes. Life insurance policies paid into for decades mature into sums too small for a stamp. This wasn't just economic crisis, it was apocalypse. The German middle class. Savings, pensions, investments, wiped out overnight. Germany slowly recovered. The currency stabilized. Life normalized. Then, 1929, the Great Depression. American banks recall their loans. German businesses collapse. Unemployment skyrockets. By 1932, 6 million Germans are unemployed. That's 30% of the workforce. Families auction furniture on the street for food. Engineers and teachers beg for laborer jobs. The Weimar government is paralyzed. Political violence is constant. Communist and Nazi street battles turn cities into war zones. Germany was economically destroyed twice in 14 years. This environment brings Hitler to power in January 1933. Hitler vows to restore German greatness, rebuild the military, defy Versailles. But Germany is bankrupt. The Versailles Treaty limits the army to 100,000. No tanks, no planes, no subs, no heavy artillery. And Germany has no money to build them anyway. Hitler needs to rearm. Massively. Secretly. Before anyone notices. And he needs to do it with an economy twice destroyed. Enter Hjalmar Schacht, the man who'd make it possible. Hjalmar Horace Greeley Schacht. Born 1877. Banker. Economist. Financial genius. He'd saved Germany once before. In 1923, as currency commissioner, Schacht ended hyperinflation. by creating a new currency backed by land. It worked. The Rentenmark stabilized. Schacht became a legend. March 17, 1933, Hitler named him Reichsbank president. August 1934, Schacht becomes economics minister. His job, fund massive rearmament discreetly, without inflation. Without revealing Germany's scale. Schacht is brilliant and has a plan. Here's Hitler's challenge: Germany needs tanks, planes, ships, weapons. That means paying. Steel firms, arms makers, chemical plants. But if the Reichsbank just prints cash to pay them, two things happen. 1. Inflation explodes again. Germans won't stand for it. They remember 1923. 2. Payments hit official Reichsbank records. Foreign governments see them. They know Germany's rearming. They'll intervene before Germany is ready. Hitler needs invisible money. Money that doesn't cause inflation. Money off the books. Schacht creates it. In 1934, Schacht forms a company. Metallurgische Forschungsgesellschaft, MBH. Metallurgical Research Company, Limited MIFO, for short. On paper, it's a research consortium. For big German firms Siemens, Krupp, Rheinmetall, Gut Hoffnungshat own MIFO shares. Its capital? Just 1 million Reichsmarks total. In reality, MIFO does nothing. It's a shell. A fake company with letterhead and a bank account. But MIFO will fund history's largest rearmament program. Here's how the scheme worked. Imagine you're a German arms maker in 1935. The government orders 1,000 tanks. But instead of Reichsmarks, they pay you in MIFO bills. These bills are IOUs, promissory notes, from MIFO, the fake company. They are basically checks saying, MIFO promises to pay you this amount in 5 years. Now, you don't want to wait 5 years. You need cash now for workers and steel. So you take these MIFO bills to a private German bank. The bank examines the bills. They know MIFO is backed by the Reichsbank. They know the Reichsbank will honor these bills. So the bank gives you cash. Real Reichsmarks. Maybe a slight discount, but it's cash. You're happy. You got paid. This is where the clever bit starts. The private bank now has MIFO bills. They take them to the Reichsbank. The Reichsbank turns them into cash using its own money power. But here's the really important bit. These deals never show up on the official Reichsbank books. MIFO bills are private company debts. Not government debt. Not Reichsbank debt. Officially, they are debts of a private research firm. So when other countries check Germany's finances, they don't see all this secret arms spending. It's totally hidden. Between 1934 and 1938, Germany issued 12 billion Reichsmarks in MIFO bills. For perspective, Germany's entire national debt in 1932 was about 10 billion Reichsmarks. Germany secretly added more than its total debt in hidden IOUs to fund its military build-up. And no one outside Germany knew how big it was until it was far too late. By 1936, Germany had broken every military rule in the Treaty of Versailles. They had tanks, planes, subs, a modern army. The Allies didn't step in because they didn't grasp the scale of it all. But there's a catch. Those MIFO bills? They come due in 5 years. The first bills were issued in 1934. They mature in 1939. And Germany doesn't have 12 billion Reichsmarks to pay them back. Time is running out. And that's when the Ponzi scheme comparison really fits. A Ponzi scheme works like this. You promise investors big returns. You pay early investors with money from new investors. It works as long as new cash keeps flowing in. But eventually, you run out of new people to get money from. The whole thing collapses. Everyone loses out. Nazi Germany's economy operated in a similar way. MIFO bills were promises to pay later. Germany planned to use future economic growth to settle them. But by 1938, Germany's economy couldn't make enough money to pay the bills. The scheme needed new funds. Where do you get 12 billion Reichsmarks when your economy can't produce it? You take it from someone else. March 1938, Germany takes over Austria. Austria had gold, foreign cash, industry. Germany took it all. September 1938, the Munich Agreement. Germany takes the Sudetenland from Czechoslovakia. March 1939. Germany occupies the rest of Czechoslovakia. Czechoslovakia had gold reserves. The Skoda Arms Works, one of Europe's most advanced weapons factories. Germany seized everything. September 1939. Germany invades Poland. Poland had crops, raw materials, millions of people for forced labor. Germany took it all. The Nazi economy wasn't just wrong, it was built to need conquest. As a historian said, they had to invade a few countries for it. Hjalmar Schacht saw this coming. By 1937, he warned Hitler the economy was overstretched, the spending unmanageable, but they were heading for disaster. Hitler ignored him. On January 7, 1939, just weeks before the first MIFO bills were due, Schacht sent a desperate report from the Reichsbank directors. The report pushed for a massive cut in arms spending, slashing expenses, a balanced budget to stop inflation. Hitler's response, January 20, 1939. Hitler sacked Schacht as head of the Reichsbank. Schacht built the system, but he also built in a ticking time bomb. And Hitler's fix was to keep the bomb from going off by constantly feeding it. Feed it with Austria, with Czechoslovakia, with Poland. Eventually, with France, the Soviet Union, everywhere. The war wasn't just Hitler's beliefs, it was economic desperation. By 1939, Germany had two choices, economic ruin or expansion. Hitler picked expansion. But MIFO bills weren't the only way they got cash. The Nazi economy had other sources, and they were even grimier. When Germany took over a country, they didn't just rule it. They systematically ransacked it. Gold, foreign currency, art, factory gear, raw materials. In France, Germany imposed occupation fees. France had to pay Germany 400 million francs daily to be occupied. That's France paying for its own occupation. In the Soviet Union, Germany planned to take grain, oil, minerals for its war machine. The whole economic setup was parasitic. Then there was slave labor. Concentration camp inmates were forced to work in German factories, making weapons, parts, mining coal. Firms like IG Farben, Siemens, Krupp used slave labor from camps. Prisoners were worked to death. When they died, new ones were brought in. The Nazi economy wasn't just funded by theft. It was built on slavery. This isn't just morally wrong. This is the economic blueprint for genocide. Here's another swindle showing how deep the theft went. The Volkswagen. The people's car. Germans were told they could get a car if they saved via the Deutsche Arbeitsfront. Pay a bit each month. Eventually, get your Volkswagen. 275 million Reichsmarks were collected from German savers. How many civilian Volkswagens were delivered during the entire Third Reich? None. The factory was switched to military production. The Kübelwagen, a military vehicle, instead of the promised people's car. German savers lost everything. They only got paid back in the 60s. The Nazi economy didn't just rob enemies. It stole from its own people. Here's another trick. In the 20s and early 30s, Germany borrowed loads from the UK, France, and US. Loans supposedly to help pay off Versailles reparations. Germany took the cash. Then Hitler stopped paying reparations in 1933, but kept the loan money. So, Germany used cash borrowed from the UK and France to build the army that invaded them. When Germany invaded France in 1940, the new Vichy government wrote off some debt. Germany got free money from future enemies. And, of course, they took Jewish assets. Jewish businesses, bank accounts, homes, art all seized, sold, funding the regime. This wasn't just hate, it was organized theft for government cash. Nazi economics lived off taking. None of it was built to last. By 1939, the Nazi economy was teetering. MIFO bills were due. Germany couldn't pay without raiding more countries. The economy was overheating. Inflation crept back. Shortages started. Schacht warned this would happen. He was right. But instead of slowing down, Germany sped up. Because slowing down meant economic ruin, job losses, political chaos, the end of Hitler's regime. Hitler had only one way forward. This is what most miss about Nazi Germany. The war wasn't just about ideology. It was economic survival. The Nazi economy needed to expand. Without taking over, it would fail. Historian Adam Tooze wrote about this. * The Wages of Destruction star. The making and breaking of the Nazi economy. His point, Nazi Germany was living on borrowed time from day one. The economic plan demanded constant war to survive. When Germany invaded the Soviet Union in 1941, it wasn't just about *Lebensraum* or race. It was about Caucasus oil. Ukrainian grain, resources to stop the economy collapsing. War *was *the economy. The economy * was * the war. And when Germany started losing ground in 1943 and 1944, the economic plan fell apart. No more loot, no more resources, just massive spending. The Nazi economy was a scam. And like all scams, it eventually crashed. So, how did Hitler fund World War II? He didn't. Let me break it down. The Nazi economy had 4 pillars. First, dodgy accounting. MIFO bills let Germany hide £12 billion in debt, to rearm secretly, to build a war machine while the world thought Germany was recovering. Schacht's trick was creating money out of thin air. But it was still debt. And debt must be paid. Second, plunder. Germany funded the war by robbing everyone they invaded. Austria's gold, Czech factories. French occupation payments, Soviet grain, Polish labor. The Nazi economy was parasitic. It needed new victims to survive. Third, slavery. Concentration camp. Inmates, POWs, forced workers from occupied nations, worked to death in German factories, building weapons to conquer more, to create more slaves. The economic plan was tied to genocide. Fourth, theft, Jewish property, defaulted loans, cancelled reparations, even ripping off German savers with the VW scam. Every part of Nazi economics was about taking from others, unpaid. So, was Nazi Germany a Ponzi scheme? Pretty much. Early investors got paid with money from later ones. But the investors were countries, and payment was conquest. MIFO bills came due in 1939. Germany had no cash, so they invaded Poland. The spoils from Poland funded the push into France. The spoils from France funded the invasion of the USSR. As long as Germany kept winning, kept taking, the scheme worked. But the second they stopped expanding, the whole thing collapsed. This is why the war was unavoidable. By 1939, Hitler had 2 choices: expand or crash. The Nazi economy wasn't built for peace. It was built for war. And that's how Hitler paid for World War II. With promises he couldn't keep. With cash he didn't have. With resources he stole. With labor he enslaved. The Nazi war machine wasn't funded by economic might. It was funded by a scam that needed constant conquest to avoid collapse. And when the conquest ended, the economy died with the regime. Here's my question: knowing the Nazi economy needed constant growth to survive, do you think the war was inevitable? Or could Germany have stepped back and shifted to a sustainable economy? Let me know in the comments. If this changed your view on Nazi Germany's economy, hit like and subscribe for more history connecting economics, politics, and war. Thanks for watching.